welcome to The Gutter. My name is Rolando, and today we're featuring Dog Tag issue number 1, written by the master of satirical and existential comics, Mark Russell, with art by PJ Holden on Mad Cave Comics. This new release has received a 4.2 very positive rating on the League of Comic Geeks website. Everyone thinks of World War II comics as bloody beach landings, but Mark Russell's Dog Tag number 1 flips the script entirely. Imagine being a frontline journalist forced to cover an army made entirely of inflatable rubber tanks while the real world burns a few miles away. It's an absolute masterclass in psychological historical fiction. So let's dive right in.
The Office of War Information, Southwick House, Portsmouth, England, May 1944. My war began when my CO, Captain Ronald George, unexpectedly summoned me to a meeting. Is this him? Beware of meetings you weren't expecting. Colonel, this is Tom Fuller, a correspondent for U.S. over at Stars and Stripes. Writes a very popular Day in the Life column. I do cartoons too, sir. Son, we're sending you to Dover. You'll be attached to FUSAG. Fuller then replies, Sir, I am deeply honored to be chosen to cover the invasion. I won't let you down. Colonel then says, We're sending you to cover the Army and its preparations for our planned invasion of Europe. Sergeant then says, Here's the greasy part, son. You won't be part of the invasion. Patton's going to be sitting tight in Dover, and so are you. Colonel, looking over his information, then says, The First Army is a ruse to make Hitler think the invasion will come at Calais. There's hardly anyone stationed in Dover, but you'll make it seem like there's thousands of troops busting humps and getting ready for something big. Got it? Fuller then says, Sir, I'm just not sure I can do that. Colonel then replies, And why not? Fuller replies, I'm trained journalist, sir. I have a duty. Colonel replies, Trained where? My high school newspaper, Joliet B, sir. Colonel says, the real journalists are already lying for us. In fact, the enemy's expecting false stories in the major press. But if they're getting confirmation from, what was your podunk column called? Tomfullery, sir. That's it. That's the sort of lie they'll find convincing. Colonel then says, if we wanted a professional journalist to write it, we'd have one. We chose you because you're an enlisted man. That way, if you spilled the beans, we can have you shot. Says, oh, I see. Anyway, that's the assignment. Dismissed, Private.
The Stars and Stripes. Monday, May 1st, 1944. Tomfullery by Tom Fuller. The White Knuckles of Dover. Base life is never boring in the 1st U.S. Army Group, but with the invasion of Europe looming in the air, things are downright jumpy. Nobody knows when or where it's going to happen, but almost everyone would rather it happen tomorrow than wait on pins and needles anymore. Enlisted men are doing whatever they can to relieve the tension. Last night, I saw 2 NCOs bet on who could drink the most ketchup. Staff Sergeant Crawley not only won, but set a camp record of 2 bottles. To take the edge off the pre-invasion jitters and to preserve its ketchup supply, Command has authorized a series of tank races.
Parachute and landing drills are a daily necessity around here. Not only to keep the men sharp and prepared, but to take their minds off the big question. When? We have to shout to make ourselves heard over the roar of the plane engines, even at breakfast. We've had to develop a series of hand signals to make ourselves heard over the planes. 1 finger for pass the salt, 2 for pass the pepper. Inflatable tanks. Wooden dummy planes. What am I even doing here? Is this what I am now? A paid liar? Nothing was real here. Not even me. I hate it here. This isn't the war I came to cover. Hell, this isn't a war at all. As he walks into the enlisted men's club, sits down to have a drink, says to the bartender, "While everyone else is getting ready for the biggest amphibious invasion in human history, I'm stuck here. But the advantage of being a paid liar, I suppose, is that you can tell the truth for free? Someday. Anyway, May 30th, 1944. Colonel says, "This is great work, Captain. Hell, I'd place a bet on these tank races myself. If there was a medal for bullshit, I'd pin it on him myself." As he reads the Stars and Stripes article, Colonel then says to the captain, "Have him switch it up a little. Make it seem like the base is in a lull, like the invasion may still be ways off." Captain says, "Oh, why's that, sir?" June 6, 1944, Omaha Beach, Normandy, France, the D-Day invasion.
Tomfullery by Tom Fuller. Monday, June 5th, 1944. Doldrums at Dover. The camp seems to have fallen into a funk as the standing orders seem to be hurry up and wait. Nobody knows when, or apparently if, the invasion is going to happen. The biggest news around camp is that there will be sloppy joes on Tuesday. Men are taking advantage of the lack of drills to patch tube socks and learn the foxtrot.
Fuller, staring at his drink, says to himself, "There shall be wars and rumors of wars, and apparently I was the rumors of wars department." Sergeant walks in. "Private, you better come with me," Fuller says. "What is it, Sarge?" "It's the war, idiot." Sergeant driving his jeep past wounded men coming back from the front line. Every available body was called from base to help unload and transport the wounded coming in from France. Admiralty Pier, Dover. For the first time since I'd arrived in England, something actually seemed to be happening. What was it? I did not know yet. Nobody told me the invasion had actually happened. "What's your name, Private?" "Tom Fuller, Sarge." "Well, not today it ain't. Today you're Private Dog Tag. Now get the hell out of my Jeep, Dog Tag." "Follow the doc. When he pronounces someone dead, collect their dog tag." Fuller then says to himself, "This was the war, not what I'd been writing." He stares at the hundreds of bodies laying on the ground, bleeding, dead, missing limbs. This was war. Sergeant says to Fuller, "Well, what are you waiting for? Give me your lid." "What?" "Hold out your hat." "Doc, am I gonna..." It's dog tags in the hat. "Get his too." "Quick, hold him down. I thought I was just here to collect dog tags." "Hold him down or you'll be collecting his." Doc moved through the wounded all afternoon. Some he spent a few minutes trying to save, others he just took one look and pulled the sheet over them. Everyone here was the dead or soon to be dying. We weren't saving lives. We were organizing death's waiting room. Before the day was over, I collected over 200 dog tags, each one detached forever from a man who was himself now detached forever from all he had ever known, all he had ever loved. Or says, "Out of cigarettes?" Doc says, "Hershey bar? You're old enough to smoke." So all the work we did, all the preparations we made for the landing at Normandy, the invasion of Europe, it was all for nothing? For nothing? What are you talking about? We took the beach. This is what a victory looks like. Later, they would call those of us stationed in Dover the Ghost Army, part of the elaborate D-Day deception to keep the Germans from fortifying Normandy. After the success of the D-Day invasion, there was no more need for the inflatable tanks or the paratrooping dummies. The art of war, it is said, is the art of deception, and that, like most cliches, was true. But it's not just the enemy that you have to deceive, because you would never agree to bear the costs if you were honest with yourself. We have a stable beachhead and a supply line into France, in part due to your work, Tom. We've put you up for a Bronze Star. Thank you, Captain. Colonel then says, "I know this assignment was not what you had in mind when you came here, Private, that you had hoped to cover the invasion like an actual journalist. It just wasn't what we needed at the moment. Anyway, thank you. We're sending you to France." Fuller then replies, "To cover the war, sir?" The Colonel then looks up and says, "No, to fight it. Dismissed." The war is real. In fact, it's the only thing that is. We are figments of its imagination, just little names stamped onto metal sheets, collected by someone who barely had time to read them. Tags once pulled that disappear forever. We are the Ghost Army.
Hey, we really appreciate that you took time out of your day or night to watch this episode of The Gutter. Please subscribe to our channel for all our upcoming episodes and give us a like. It won't cost you a dime. And heck, we'll even take your suggestions for any future episodes. We'll see you back here real soon.